New rod, Black Phantom 2, 12-foot long, 2.5 to 2.3 pound test curve. It's a carp rod. Daggum up-locking reel seats, which I absolutely hate with every ounce of my being. But it was only 30 bucks for the rod, and it'll give me a good understanding of how carp rods work. So when I start building my own blanks from wood, I'll know, what to sort of look for. The thing I love, if you've seen the videos, I may try to put a link to them, the videos of how I talk about fly rod. But even the fly rod, sometimes I feel it's almost too small. Whereas here, there's a nice, look at the distance from here. In most rods, you have a little stinky little handle here, and it's just not long enough. The proportions are all backward. And the more and more I have experimented with rods, lengthening them, making them longer and longer, greater and greater handle distances, so you can easily fight here, or just tuck it under arm and fight, or just however you want to do it. The more and more I find that seems like sometimes these 12-foot rods are probably about as long as I would want to go, but I really wouldn't want to go much less than about 9 foot. But anyway, and a lot of people ask, what is 2.5 pound test curve? What does that mean? It's a European way of categorizing the stiffness or the weight of a rod. What it does is instead of measuring, America, we say things like, oh, its rod is, holds 50-pound line, or has a 3/4 ounce lure weight or whatever. It goes by the weight that it can cast. That's not how it is with these rods. With this rod, it has to do with the amount of weight that it takes to bend that tip 90 degrees to the blank. Okay, so this blank should be somewhere, it's not exact, but it's 2.5 to 2.75 pounds. If we were to take 2.5 to 2.75 pounds, it would take about that much weight to make it bend 90 degrees. That's just the way they do it. It's just a different way of thinking about it. I can tell you right now that, compared to a lot of other things, it's kind of neat. So we're going to try to cast this big thing. We don't have anywhere near the amount of weight on it that we could. And this reel seat just swallows up this little reel like it's nothing. We're going to just try to cast it overhead at some. Here, just, we can't. Oh. And that's just I don't know if you can see that even. See if we can get these all stuck up in that hairy vetch, but anyway. So if you're looking for a carp rod that you might want to use with your for channel catfishing, you may want to check this one out. Black Widow 2. I got it from where did I get this thing from? I think it's bigcarptackle.com. I mean, I'm withholding any recommendations on it until I can actually go fishing with it. Make sure we got the... Almost hit the fence there. That's a pretty light weight we have there, but you see, I don't know if you saw where it landed, almost to the white little house there on my property here. But, to me the balance point's about right here. You see, so this reel is very, very small. Again, I think if I built these things out of wood, I wouldn't need anywhere near this sort of diameter. I just wouldn't really need that much. Still experimenting, trying to buy a. So why do you want to use a big carp rod for catfishing? First of all, I'm channel catfishing, and right now, let's get this thing down here. And these are my catfish floats. I want to build some wooden rods that would be a great complement to the wooden floats that I have. But anyway, these are good float rods. Carp fishermen overseas do pretty well with just drifting floats. And the idea is that you've seen me drift rods and things like that. You can drift this down the current. I mean, just imagine, you saw how far I cast it up. Well, imagine being in the boat and casting upstream that far and then letting it drift all the way downstream that far, you know. So if you can cast 100 yards with the thing, which is really, you know, it's a football field here in the United States, right? If you can cast a football field with this, well, that's a football field that way and a football field that way. That's 2 football fields that you can cover with being anchored in one spot. So instead of me having to anchor all the time, you can just cast like this. And you can just let that thing drift and drift and drift. And you can control the drift, because what this does is, let's see, okay, let's just kind of lob it out here a little bit and show you what I'm talking about. You know, my favorite little underhanded cast here. The idea is that on the water, you got that much lift, and you can mend a lot more line as it's going downstream, or you can mend it back up. You can control the drift. You can kick it into bait feeding mode and then just be pulling it out, and almost like you would a fly rod. And you can be lifting the rod and directing where you want the float to go. So it's a very accurate way of float fishing. Longer rods really work well with float fishing. Now, to me, this is a pretty heavy rod for catfish. To me, this is really heavy, in terms of, you know, in terms of the strength of it. I can kind of tell, because I've just been fishing with rods for so long. I just kind of can tell you that, yeah, this is kind of heavy. I mean, I don't even have the hook and the weight and the bait on here. I mean, this thing, if I'm just doing halfway casts and getting pretty much almost all the way up to the White House there without trying much, I mean, by the time we get this thing loaded up with cut bait or dip bait or whatever, and the hooks and the weights and all that on there, goodness, you know, we may even have to make these floats heavier, which was what I plan to do, just so we can get more weight onto it and cast even further. I mean, but I don't think there's a reason why we couldn't cast 100 yards with this thing if we get our technique down. Wouldn't have to cast that much there in the boat, but let's try it again. Yeah, so not all that far that time. And again, we're not spooled up. We're using monofilament here. And but anyway, there's a kind of an unboxing of the, you know, Black Phantom 2 from Big Tackle, Big Box Tackle, Big Carp Tackle. It's out there in Oklahoma. It took them a couple of days to get it to me. I'm not sure which eyes these are, but it's kind of neat there. Big ring eyes on there. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's only 6 eyes up there. I've noticed that carp rods have fewer eyes on them than what a custom rod would be, because conventional wisdom says if you have a 12-foot rod, you need to have 12 eyes plus the tip top. But that would add a lot of weight on a really long rod, and I think that the Europeans just have a fundamentally a little bit different philosophy on that. Reduce the number of eyes so that the line can spin forth a lot freer. And I can tell you right now that this is a rod that has the eyes shrink down, not according to the Fuji system, I can tell you that. In other words, you have each eye is smaller than the previous eye, as opposed to the Fuji would have this one big eye, you probably have this eye, and then the rest of them would be all exactly the same size straight out to the tip, which is what I would do if I were to build one of these. Let's give it another shot here, see what we can do. Carp rods. I'd like to make one of these for almost, yeah. You see how it almost hit right there where that barrel is. And I don't know how far that away is. I'm not so good at judging distance, but it's not 100 yards here or anything, but trying to see if we can get the thing caught in the grass and we can kind of show you the action of it some, but yeah, it's just not. There's the action of it. If you see that, well, it gave way just there. But anyway, gosh, we could put an ABF 65 or an ABF. We could put like an ABF 90 on this thing, really. I think the 65 would almost be like a bare minimum, just to help balance it out, you know. But anyway, I'm happy so far. I just need to, again, main thing, oh gosh, just need to get it out on the river, catch some fish with it, see what I like about it, see what I don't like about it. You know, sort of go into mad scientist mode and go from there. But anyway, there you have it, folks. Want a free coupon code for these bobbers? I'll send you one out. Try it out. You know, it's good for one bobber. Just go on over to the website, and you can get the you can get the coupon code if you sign up to my email list, and I'll just send one of these out so you can test it for yourself. I really like these floats. They're, you know, nostalgic, and they're just simple. You know, there's something about catfishing and simple methods and materials to use. But anyway, if you're interested in that, go check it out, and I will quit rambling and let you guys get back to fishing. See yous.